the way the Lord is able to bless us, even in an abundant way, you're able even to understand that particular song in a better way, right? Yes. So from verse 1 to 2 of the Psalm 126, the main thing that you're getting here, it is the remembrance of God's past deliverance. Verse 1 says, when the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dreamt. We were like those who dreamt. And I was looking at this in a way that restoration happens in a way that you can't even really explain how it was able to. And I want us to reflect on a person who has been hurt. For example, I have been hurt before, not been hurt, but I have experienced a surgery at the back, hapa kwa mgongo yangu, my right side. So, hizo siku, hicho kidonda kilikuwa uchungu sana. But then within a period of around 7 months, 7 months, where I couldn't bend or wash clothes or cook for myself and all that stuff. Later on, like if you look at this place right now, it's already covered. Praise the name of the Lord. And it's not painful. So when you look at restoration, at times you might ask yourself the question of, hiyo kitu ilijifunga aje kwanza, si ndio? Yeah. And when restoration happens, there is complete coverage. Yes, a mark might be left, or a scar might be left on your body, or a scar might be left in you, but then that scar reminds you of what the Lord is able to do. And even as Kate was singing about healing, that you are my healer, you've healed me, I can attest that the Lord has healed me. And it was through restoration. Praise the name of the Lord. Because hiyo skin yenye sasa ilijieka hapo, si ati kuna space, like mwili iko normal, mgongo iko normal. Bwana asifiwe. Yeah, mgongo iko normal, si ati kuna kispace ati juu kuna operation ilifanywa hapo. Si ndio? Yes. And the psalmist here reflects on the miraculous feeling when God restored Israel. It felt like a dream. At times, when restoration happens, it might be too good to be true. You might even ask yourself, how did this happen? And also, this relates to the moments in our lives when God feel beyond our expectations. And I would like us to read verses 2, the first part of it. Our mouths were filled with laughter, our tongues with songs of joy. Because of the restoration that had happened, their tongues were filled with songs of joy, and their mouths were filled with laughter. So this shows brings. When the Lord intervenes in your circumstance, or when the Lord steps in, maybe in that particular situation that you are in, you experience some joy in you. And you know, joy ni kitu tu, like it happens in us even in those seasons that are so tough on us. In those difficult situations, the joy of the Lord, it cannot be measured with even any other. When the Lord fills your heart with joy, you're able to experience even the stillness of heart. And joy, it's a natural response when we recognize God's work in our lives. The children of Israel, they had recognized the doing of the Lord when the Lord restored their fortunes, when the Lord restored them back again, when the Lord restored Jerusalem, that they experienced building, they experienced growth, they experienced the doing of the Lord. It brought so much joy in them. And I would like to remind us of a word in the book of Jeremiah. It's a verse that we always say every other time. Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. So God has plans. He has plans. He tells us that he has plans for you. For I know the plans I have for you, and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Yes, the children of Israel, they had sinned against God. They had disobeyed God. And that's why they found themselves in that particular state that they were in. It was because of the disobedience that they had. But then God restored them back again, because he always has a plan for us. Even at the moments that we can't see what is in the future, he has a plan for you and me. Praise Jesus. He has a plan for your family. He's able to restore what has been taken away from you by the enemy. Even as I recall that song that we were singing here on Sunday about Nikurejeshe, Nikurejeshe, anasema njoo kwangu nikurejeshe. Yes, he's able to do that because he has a good plan for you and me. He has a very good plan for you. And I'd like us also to read another verse in the book of Isaiah chapter 55, verse 12. It says, you will go out in joy and be led forth in peace. The mountains and hills will burst into songs before you, and all the trees of the field will clap. Led forth with peace. And even as he reminds us in his word that his peace surpasses every human understanding, it cannot be fathomed, but peace is so great. I would like us to continue the second part of verse 2 to 3. Testimony to the nations. Restoration made. The transformation in the lives of the Israelites, or the children of Israelites, it was so evident, even to the people. Pose a question to you. How many times has it been that the blessing that you've received from God, it has been a testimony to the people around you? Maybe the blessing of salvation, now that we say that for sure Kate is born again, Kate loves the Lord. For sure, Elijah loves the Lord. Bwana asifiwe. So filled with joy. And when you look at the verse 3, it is more of a personal confession. It teaches us to remember and proclaim God's work in that little blessing that you receive in your life. You can just always tell the Lord, thank you. And in this, I remember there is a time that I to graduate anyway, because in my 4.2, wow, fee sema, and during the long holiday, the landlady, there is a time when alikuwa amenifungia nyumba masaa ya usiku. Nikafungiwa nyumba. And pali nililala, Mungu anajua. So after that scenario, I was scared that if I get out of this house, najua ukiwa ndani ya nyumba hata kama hujalipia, mtu hawezi kufungia hapo ndani, si ndio? So I was scared of getting out, because I knew if I get out, naweza pata nyumba imefungwa tena. Even to fear, like nilikuwa nashindwa hata kwenda kwa duka yake, sijui nitamwambia nini, juu nikienda ananiuliza nafika wapi. So mwezi moja ikaisha, ingine ikiwa katikati sasa, she came to my house and she told me, even I want to talk to you. And I told her, okay, sawa, twende. So we went at her place and we were there talking. Then she told me that I've not been seeing you going for the classes. Is everything okay? Na bado hujalipa rent, kila kitu iko sawa. Nikamwambia, I remember that time my dad had lost his job, so I think that's why hizo vitu zilikuwa zina happen hivyo. So we talked with her and she told me, akanihesabia 8,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shika. Enda ulipe fee. Then she told me, usilipe rent this semester. Na usi struggle na kupika. Ukuwa unakujia food hapa kwangu. Ikuwe ni asubuhi, ikuwe ni lunch, like just come for food here. But then I want you to do one thing for me. Or every Saturday, because alikuwa anaita mtu anakuja na clean the, so unajua kama hizi hostels zenye ni mara mbili zinafesiana. Yeah, so one side and the other. So akaniambia that instead of spacing hapo the veranda and the windows za watu, if I can be doing that, it was not a request, it was a condition. I give you this, then you do this. Praise God. And I remember ilikuwa kazi. So I used to wake up 6 in the morning. Before 6, I do cleaning before anyone else gets out, because wakipata ikiwa hivyo mtu atakanyaga, you know. And I was able to graduate. And even I sing, some of us here who are graduating this Friday, imagine it is still the doing of the Lord. And I remember that day of your graduation, I just sat and I was reminiscing all those events, how everything happened, because ilifika pahali na nikafeel, hey, this woman is giving me too much. Siwezi kuwa naendea chakula. Na imagine, so I used to find food ready, chukua enda nayo. Mimi kafika pahali nikasema, hapana, acha nikue, hata kama naenda siendi asubuhi na lunch, I will go in the evening maybe and help her with 1, 2, 3 evil. And imagine God used a person to bless me. Praise God. And maybe you're there, you're troubled. I want to remind you that God has a great plan for you. Bwana asifiwe. And that put me in a place that God helped me to have compassion in me. At times somebody might ask me, why do you help people a lot? Why do you always kwa nini, like, you will show concern for towards a person sana? It is because I experienced that when I needed help. Praise God. There is a person that was touched somewhere to show me compassion. Who am I not to show compassion to other people? So if God has showed you compassion, please be a blessing to another person. Praise God. Don't be a curse to other people. And that's what we are seeing in the life of the children of Israel. And I would read Matthew chapter 5, verse 16. Matthew chapter 5, verse 16. Matthew, not Mark. Matthew chapter 5, verse 16. Okay, in the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. The people around you can't others in a bad way. You know, you see, if something is not good, then it is bad, right? Yes. If something is not done in the right way, then it is done in the wrong way. So, how are your deeds as a Christian? How do you treat people around you? How do you treat even your family? Do you treat them in the good way or in the bad way? So if you do it in the bad way, then you are not glorifying your Father in heaven. But if you are doing good, set on a hill, for chapter 2, verse 9, it says, but you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, that you may declare into his wonderful light. Yes, we are a chosen generation. We have been called to proclaim the praises of God, testimony of it, and let others see the impact of God in our lives. Because through testimonies, the testimonies of God's work, it inspires hope. The testimonies of God's work, it inspires hope and faith in God. When you give a testimony, somebody might experience they might be propelled to trust in the Lord more. Let us continue.